Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 28th August today, and today we are going to discuss these important articles which were in the newspaper. Before we start our discussion, I would like to introduce this channel to you guys if you are the first time visitor of this channel. Every day we upload this video. Basically, in this video, we discuss the daily quiz as it is very much evident from the title itself. We discuss the daily quiz in it. We discuss various types of questions in this video. And I divide those questions into three categories. The first set of questions are related to the current affairs. What we do, we take up the most important articles from the newspaper which are relevant for your preparation. We discuss them little bit so that you will get the idea about the news itself, and also we take up some prelims based questions from those articles so that it will help you revise your current affairs and also give you the connection and also help you connect your preparation with your prelims. So the first purpose of this video is to help you connect your current affairs with your prelims preparation. And also in this video, as I had promised you that every day we will discuss some static portion topic. So in this video, every day we discuss some static portion topic here. As I had told you, we had started from the Indian polity, and today we are going to discuss the Government of India Act of 1858. And for our Indian polity, the source would be the Lakshmikant book. So we are going to discuss the Government of India Act of 1858. And at the end of this discussion, we will discuss few previous year questions so that it will give you the brief idea how the questions do come in the exam, what can be the methods by which you can solve those questions, and also those questions will definitely help you improve your information. And when you study previous year questions, it will definitely improve your knowledge and you can implement that knowledge in your next coming exam. So this is all about this initiative. Before we start our discussion, I would like to request you guys, please have your notebook in front of you and start writing these questions. It would be very much useful for you if you will do it from right now, if you will do it from the beginning. You know why? Because at the end, when your exams would be near, you would have already developed a question bank with you. You would have developed a question bank while when you will revise those questions, it will help you revising the current affairs, and also it will boost your confidence so that it would be easy for you to crack this exam. So please do write all these questions if you want to clear your next prelims, or at least take the screenshot of these questions. And also I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited by this initiative. And please don't look at the way I introduce this. Sometimes the introduction may become best and sometimes we fumble while introducing. So don't look at it, but look at the material, look at the content we are providing here. So please do stay with me till the end of this video and watch the full video and gain some information from this video. It would be very much useful for you. Trust me, this is very unique video which we upload every day on this YouTube channel. Now, without any delay, let's have a look at the articles which we have to study today, which we have to discuss today. The first article, it is about the section 45 of PMLA. If you would had read your newspaper today, there was no such particular article about the section 45 of PMLA. No heading with this section 45. Then why we are discussing this? When we will discuss it in the next slide, you will come to know why we are discussing this section 45 of PMLA. Then we will discuss about the Iran as they open doors for discussion with US with respect to their nuclear deal. After that, we will discuss about the reasonable restrictions to the freedom of speech as the owner of the Telegram, he got arrested. With respect to him, we will discuss it. Then we will have a little discussion about the Kachathiu Island as few Indian fishermen were caught in Sri Lanka, were caught by the Sri Lankan Navy. And after that, we will discuss about the Satish Kumar as he has been named as a new chairman of Railway Board. We will discuss about it. Then we will discuss about the Himachal Pradesh as they became the first state to limit the marriage age of women to 40 to 21, as they increased the marriage age of women from 18 to 21. We will discuss about it. Then finally we will discuss our static topic, which is a Government of India Act of 1858, and at the end we will discuss few previous year questions. With this, let's move to our first topic of the discussion, which is the section 45 of PMLA. Here it is about the section 45 of PMLA. What does it talk about? If you know, as I told you in the beginning, that the purpose of this video is not to discuss the news analysis, but we provide it so that you will get the context of the questions. So let's try to break down what was in the news. First little bit we will touch that, we will touch the most important points in it, so that it will help you both in prelims and mains. About section 45 of PMLA Act of 2002, it says that it is basically about the granting of bail to the accused. You know, what does this section 45 say? That if a bail is given to an accused, if a Supreme Court, if a court gives a bail to the accused under the PMLA Act, the court has to go for the twin test for the bail. What is this twin test? That this twin test, it talks about two conditions, that the courts should satisfy those two conditions. The accused should satisfy those two conditions before the judge, then only the judge will give him the bail. What are these two conditions? They are as follows. First condition, the court should believe that the person, the accused, is not the guilty. If the court is satisfied that the accused is not the guilty, then the court can grant him the bail. So this is the first condition under the section 45 of PMLA. The second condition is that the courts believe that once the bail is given, that the person to whom the bail was given, will not alter with the crime, will not alter with the evidence, will not flee away, or will not do any other crime. So these are two conditions. First, the court believes that he is not guilty. Second, the court believes that if the bail is given, he will not alter with the evidence, he will not do further crime, and he will not flee away from the country. If these two conditions are fulfilled, these are called twin test, and it is under the section 45 of PMLA Act, and then only the Supreme Court can give, then only the courts can give the bail to a person who is prosecuted under the PMLA Act. But with this, when you have this section 45, it basically talks about the bail, but it shows us how difficult it is for a person to get bail if he is caught under the PMLA Act. Because why would the courts take this liability? Why would the judge take this liability that I will give you bail, and what is the assurance of that you will not do that crime, or you will not alter the evidence? So it becomes very much difficult. And usually in such cases, the bail are given at the end of the trial. Once the trial is completed, then only the bails are given. Then the bail is given. And it is said that if anybody is caught under the PMLA, the burden of proof is on the accused, not on those agencies who investigate them. For example, ED in this case. So this is how difficult it is to get a bail in PMLA. But here, about getting the bail in PMLA, there are some exceptions. What are those exceptions? Let us see them. Those exceptions are if the accused is minor, if he is below 16 years age, then the courts can give him the bail because of that. Second, if the accused is sick, then the courts can give him the bail. If the courts believe that he is sick and his health can deteriorate in the jail, then the courts can give him the bail. And also, if she is a woman, then in particular cases, the bail can be given to her. But here the question, you can ask me question, sir, why we are discussing section 45 here? It is very out of sudden, it is very random. Why we are discussing it here? The context to it is the heading in the newspaper, which was that Miss Kavita's case, when Miss Kavita, as she got the bail with respect to this case. Why was Miss Kavita in the jail? Because she was caught under the Delhi excise policy scheme. Everybody knows about the Delhi excise policy scheme. Delhi, as in the Delhi excise policy, Delhi government announced this policy that private players to set up liquor shop, and Delhi government believed that it will fetch them almost 950 crores of profit. But there were some concerns with respect to this. there were some allegations that some private players had played their part. They had given some bribe to the ministers, and because of that this law was brought in, and that's why all the members, most of the members of the Aam Aadmi Party are under the ED's protection. They are under they are caught under this PMLA Act. And with this also, because of this excise policy case, this Miss Kavita, she was also caught under this case. Now, with respect to this, here comes the another concept, and that concept is about the vicarious liability. What is this vicarious liability? Let me explain it in this way. For example, you have a pet, you have a dog, and you are going for a morning walk with your dog, and unfortunately you unleash your dog and he bites somebody else, and then that person goes to the court, and courts will come to you and ask you question. They will, what would be the punishment for that? They will start punishing you, and you can't give the answer that, sir, it was my dog who gave that bite to him. But you can't say that, because this liability lies on you. This is the vicarious liability, the liability to मतलब कि अपने कुत्ते को तुम कैसे संभालोगे, liability of saving the people of others, it is up to you, because your pet can be dangerous to the others. So liability lies on you. जो what your dog does, its liability lies on you. So this is the मतलब कि in simpler terms, this is how you can understand the vicarious liability. In this case itself, मतलब in this case of the Delhi excise policy case, by taking this principle of vicarious liability, the chief minister of Delhi, which is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, he was caught under this vicarious liability, that what does his cabinet has done, what does his minister has done, the liability of those ministers lies on him. So because of that, he is in the jail. Now coming back to our topic, it is as we were discussing about the Miss Kavita's case, why we discussed the section 45 of PMLA. Here, when Miss Kavita was caught under this act, she went to the Supreme Court she went to the Delhi High Court for the bail, but Delhi High Court denied that. She asked a few questions, matlab in layman terms. She said that if there are exceptions given to the sick, woman and minor, why can't this exception be given to me? Because I am a woman, please give me the bail. I want to enjoy this exception. But this Delhi High Court said that you are not the ordinary woman. You are very prestigious, you are very royal, you are powerful woman, and you can alter with the evidence. And finally this case went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court totally nullified the High Court's verdict. It said that Supreme Court said that you cannot classify woman on this basis. If exception is given to the woman, then every woman comes under it, and then the Supreme Court granted her the bail. This is the whole concept about this article. I hope I was able to connect this article to you guys. The main purpose is not to discuss the news article itself, but we are discussing it. Reason is this will help you connect well with the questions which we ask here. So with this, let's move to the another slide. Let's see what are the questions which can be framed from this whole discussion which we did here. The first question, it says, which of the following statements about the section 45 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 is correct? So here we have 4 statements. We have to find out which is correct with respect to the section 45 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. First statement, section 45 deals with the procedure for attaching property involved in money laundering. No, it does not talk about it. It talks about the bail. So first statement is incorrect. Statement B, section 45 sets conditions for granting bail to individuals accused under the PMLA. This is 100% correct. Statement B is 100% correct. Let's look at the statement C. Section 45 specifies the maximum penalty for money laundering offenses. Totally incorrect. Statement D, section 45 outlines the powers of the Enforcement Directorate in investigating money laundering cases. This is also incorrect. So for this question number 1, the correct answer would be option B. Now let's see the another question which can be formed from this discussion. It says, which of the following statements correctly describe the principle of vicarious liability in the context of the Indian law? The first statement, vicarious liability applies only to criminal offenses committed by an employee during their employment. Totally incorrect. It does apply to the both criminal and civil offense wrongs done by any person. Second, B statement B, under vicarious liability an employer can be held responsible. Let's understand this statement. An employer can be held responsible, 100% correct, for the tortious actions of an employee, 100% correct, if such actions occur within the scope of employment, 100% correct. So statement B is 100% correct. For example, I am employing somebody and I am taking his responsibility and he does anything wrong, so that liability lies on me. If he is doing anything wrong, anything uncivil, that liability of his lies on me. So statement B is correct. Statement C, vicarious liability extends to liabilities arising from contracts entered into by an employee on behalf of an employer, 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement, but it is not specific to the contracts. So it is partially correct and partially we can say it is not specific to contracts, but the statement itself is correct. So B and C are correct statements in this question. Coming to the statement D, the principle of vicarious liability does not apply to civil wrongs. Totally incorrect. It does apply to the civil wrongs committed by agents or representatives of a company, 100% correct. So for this question, the correct statements are statement B and statement C. Now with this, I hope you had understood the topic itself and you are able to connect your current affairs with the prelims preparation. Now let's move to the another article of today's discussion. Let's see what does it say. Here it talks about the Iran opens doors for the discussion with the US. Right now we know that Iran and USA are two extreme enemies of each other. They are not good with each other. They are not good with for example, those friends, they are not even good with the friends of these countries, friends of each other's countries. They are very hostile towards each other, but the condition was not same always. When we will go back to the 1970s, we can see that there was a time till 1974 when UN and Iran, they enjoyed the close friendship. When there was the Shah of Iran was the ruler of the Iran, but when after that the Islamic Revolution came and Agha Ruhollah Khomeini, he became the supreme leader. Since then, the situation between USA and Iran started to deteriorate, and they decided to go for the nuclear energy, which the West started to blaming that they are going for the nuclear weaponry, and they started to sanction Iran from one sanctions to another, from another to third, fourth, and so many sanctions were put on the Iran. So with this, the Iran in 2015, they were very much tired of these sanctions and they started to develop a deal with the US in which they categorically said that the nuclear energy which they have, they desired this for the civil purposes only, and they wanted to sign a deal, and in fact they signed the deal in 2015 with P5 countries of the permanent 5 countries of the UN and also the Germany. And this deal was signed in 2015, enforced in 2016, but unfortunately United States withdrew from it in 2018. For this signing, the way the P5 countries signed the deal with the Iran, they faced huge criticism for that. They said that there were few points in this deal. That first, it was time bound. This deal was very much time bound, that for 10 years, it's particularly said that for 10 years they are not going to go for the nuclearization of the weapons. So they are limiting their nuclear energy to for the energy consumption or for the civil purposes. So it was very much time bound, and there were other allegations also with respect to this deal. But according to the P5 countries, according to US, that at that time when this deal was signed, Iran was very much close to form the nuclear weapons, so that it was only 2 months away to form these nuclear weapons. By signing this deal, we what they did, they stretched this time to 1 more year, and by this they were able to delay this nuclearization of Iranian weapons. So by that deal they were able to delay this. But unfortunately in 2018, what US did, they withdrew from this deal, and it did not go well with the Iranian leaders. And also we saw that Iranian commander was assassinated, and it blamed it on the US. And furthermore, escalations happened between Iran and US, and finally Iran, they said that they are not going to go for any deal with the US or the Western countries. And with before the assassination of their leader, Iran said one thing very interesting, that they invited the International Atomic Energy Agency to have a look at our nuclear ports, to have a look at our nuclear you know at nuclear power plants, to have a look at that. You will find out that we are not preparing any nuclear weapon here. We are just doing this for the purpose of the nuclear energy, for the purpose of the civil consumption. But once the commander was killed by the US, as alleged by the Iran, he was killed by the US. They did not allow the members from the International Atomic Energy Agency to visit their nuclear power plants, and they did not allow them, and they shut all the doors for the negotiations. About the nuclear energy, we should know one more concept in it, which can be useful for your science and tech, that we need to enrich the uranium. If uranium is enriched to the 5 to 20%, then it is very much useful for the civil consumptions, for the nuclear energy plants. But it is very much difficult to enrich the uranium. But once it is enriched to the 95%, then it is useful for the nuclear weaponry. And it is said that, it is alleged that the International Atomic Energy Agency, once they were they unofficially investigated the power plants of the Iran, and they found out that they had reached to the 87% of the enriching of the uranium, which is very much dangerous for the world itself, for the continent, for the Middle East itself, because right now the condition of the Middle East is very volatile. For example, they have the Israel there, which officially does not agree to the nuclear weapons, but it is very much understood that they have. If Iran will develop this nuclear energy there, then it will shift the balance there, and it will be very much, it would be a strategic defeat to the US and the US allied countries. So the US and the world is trying their best to, you know, to stop Iran from developing the nuclear energy. So this was about the story, short story behind it. Now, what is the news? What this? Why we are discussing this news here? Why we are discussing all this information here, all that history here? The reason is that because the Iranian head Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini, he has made some statements which show that he is willing to renegotiate with the US, as he said that he is open to negotiate with the enemy country also, which unofficially means that he was talking about the US. Now, from this article itself, you can frame many different types of prelims based questions. You can frame question on uranium itself, you can frame question on nuclear energy, you can frame question on how the enriching of uranium can lead to the nuclear weapons, and you can also frame a question on International Atomic Energy Agency. Now let us see what question we had framed from this article. Let's connect it with your prelims preparation. Here the question says, which of the following statements about the International Atomic Energy Agency are correct? So we had framed a question on International Atomic Energy Agency. Now let us see which of the following statements are correct. First statement, the IAEA, which is International Atomic Energy Agency, was established in 1957, 100% correct, to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy, 100% correct, and to prevent the use for military purposes, 100% correct. Second statement, the IAEA has the authority to enforce nuclear disarmament treaties and impose sanctions on member states. Unfortunately, this is incorrect because they cannot enforce nuclear disarmament treaties, neither they can impose sanctions on member states. Statement 3, the IAEA's headquarters are located in Vienna, Austria, 100% correct. So for this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. Now with this, I hope you had understood the topic. I hope you were able to connect the topic to your preparation. Now with this, let's move to the another order of today's discussion. It talks about the reasonable limits on free speech. You know, freedom of speech has been the discussion from decades. People, there are two types of people, two types of mindset with the freedom of speech. Some, some believe that the freedom of speech should be absolute. You should be able to say whatever you want to say, and you should not be, you should not be restricted for that. You can say whatever you want to say. There should be no reasonable restriction on that. There should be, you know you should not be arrested for that. You should be very much free to express your thoughts. But to this, there is some opposite class also to which we belong, that yes, freedom of speech is important, but there are some reasonable restrictions which should be associated with the freedom of speech. For example, you cannot show the child pornography. You cannot show they they you cannot go to the extremes. You cannot show the worst things happening to the woman. You cannot say anything. You cannot degrade a woman. You cannot go below your morals. To this category we belong. And with respect to the freedom of speech, as it is mentioned in article 19, we have 8 reasonable restrictions in our constitution. And we should also know that the with respect to the freedom of speech, we should also know one thing which is very much important. That is that it is it has even Universal Declaration on Human Rights also has put some reasonable restrictions on this topic. There are some reasonable restrictions. For example, in our constitution, we have the sovereignty of the country, the public order. You cannot say anything. You cannot by your words, by your speech, you cannot destroy the public order. You cannot insult the sovereignty of the country. You cannot do the contempt of the court. You cannot say ill about the judge or Indian courts. So, and you cannot you cannot be so immoral. So you have to look at, there are some restrictions with the freedom of speech which we have to look into. So with why we are discussing this article here, because the Telegram owner, he got arrested. Why he got arrested, about Telegram owners, we should know that he is one of those person. He is actually from the Russia. He is one of those person who believes in extreme freedom of speech, who says that it is not the freedom of speech which is important, it is the privacy which is the important. And he runs the app which is Telegram, which about the Telegram we should know a few things, that it is not only a person to person message app. It is not encrypted. It is not fully end-to-end encrypted. It is like a social media. You post there, you have a groups of hundreds and millions which are following there, and you post messages for them. So anything, it is the authority of the Telegram. It should be, Telegram should look into these things, that if the hate speech is violated there, if any such if for example minor pornography is shared there, they should they should remove that from their platform. But what Telegram says, that we are not going to do that, neither we are going to share the information of the people who share it with you. So because of this, the Telegram owner was arrested. Here one more concept comes. It is the safe harbor. It applies to the social media, that whenever any such content is uploaded on them, what they do, they remove that content, so that they are very much safe with respect to the prosecution. The courts can't drag them to the the authorities can't drag them to the courts because of that. It is the person who is violating, not the app, not the app owner itself. So this is all about this discussion. That is why we are discussing the freedom of speech. So with this, let us see how we can frame a question in the UPSC's prelims. Let's have a look on. Here the question says, which of the following are considered reasonable restrictions on the freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(2) of the Indian Constitution? Here we have the points. First, sovereignty and integrity of India, 100% correct. It is one of the reasonable restriction. Second, friendly relations with foreign states, 100% correct. Third, incitement to an offense, 100% correct. Fourth, criticism of government policies and actions. No, this is not the reasonable restriction, but you cannot promote hatred towards the government. You have to look into it. But the whole concept of criticism of government policies and actions does not come under the reasonable restrictions in the freedom of speech. So with this, I hope you understood the topic and you were able to connect your prelims with your connect the current affairs with your prelims preparation. So with this, let's move to the another article which was in the news today. Let's have a look at it. It is about the Kachatiyu Island. This has been a long debate between India and Sri Lanka about this island. Earlier about this island, we should know a few important points. Everybody knows about it. Let's have a look at it. One few important points. It is 280 acre of inhabited land. There is no fresh water available, and only a Catholic shrine is there which the people visit. Second thing about this is it is located in the northeast of Rameshwaram and south of the Jaffna, and also it was believed that it was the part of Jaffna kingdom. And after the independence, both India and Sri Lanka claimed it. But in 1974, when it was Indira Gandhi who was the PM of India, she led Sri Lanka to take it. She gave it to the Sri Lanka as a goodwill, so that the relation between India and Sri Lanka will deepen. But unfortunately, the state, which is Tamil Nadu, they did not like it, because there were many fishermen from Tamil Nadu used to visit this place, and they used to rest there and do the fishing there. When this was given to the Sri Lanka, there was an agreement signed between India and Sri Lanka, and it was said that it was said in that agreement that the Indian people, they can use this island, but how they can use it, it was not clearly mentioned. According to India, they can fish in this island, but according to the Sri Lanka, they can't fish, but they can rest on this island and visit the shrine. So with this, I hope you had understood the basic concept about the Kachatiyu Island. Now let us see how UPSC can ask a question from this article itself. Here the question says, Kachatiyu Island is a topic of diplomatic and geopolitical interest between which of the two following countries? It is very simple, very straightforward. It is India and Sri Lanka. I forgot to mention why we discussed it, because few fishermen from India were caught by the Sri Lankan Navy who were fishing in the area of Kachatiyu. So this was the context of this discussion. Now with this, let's move to the another article of today's discussion. It talks about the Satish Kumar as the new chairman of Railway Board. About this, we should know a few important things. What is that? Who has appointed him? Who is the authority to appoint him? It is the appointment committee of cabinet who has appointed him as the chairman of the Railway Board. About appointment committee of the cabinet, we should know a few things. We have Article 77 in our Indian Constitution. Article 77, it talks about that the President of India has power to make rules for the more convenient transaction of the business of the government of India. So President has the power to make rules for the more convenient transaction of the business of the government of India. Because of this Article 77, the government of India transaction of business rules were made in 1961, and under this, ministries were made and different cabinet committees were made. And similarly, right now we have 8 cabinet committees under this transaction of business rules. And among those 8 cabinet committees, we have this appointment committee of cabinet. About this appointment committee of cabinet, we should know that it is headed by the prime minister, and also the home minister is one of its member. And this appointment to the appointment of Satish Kumar as a new chairman of railway board. He is appointed by the appointment committee of the cabinet. So with this, it was, I think this is enough for enough about this about the context of this news. Now let's have a look at the question which can be framed from this article. It is about which of the following statements about the appointment committee of the cabinet is are correct. First statement: the prime minister is the chairperson of the appointment committee of the cabinet. 100% correct. Statement 2: the ACC is a statutory body established under the Constitution of India. No, it is not a statutory body, but it is an executive body formed by the union cabinet to facilitate appointments. So for this question, the correct statement is statement 1 only. So with this, let's move to the, I guess we had completed our daily. No, we have one more discussion, which is Himachal Pradesh as it makes 21 the minimum age of marriage for women. Earlier in the country, in every state, we had the former minimum age for women was 18, but it is only the Himachal Pradesh which has increased it to 21. In the 17th Lok Sabha, they tried to amend it, but because of the dissolution of the assembly, this bill lapsed because it originated in the Lok Sabha itself. Now, here arises few questions which we have to take care of. The first question: let's suppose if a marriage, if two persons marry and they are below the age of 18, whether their marriage would be valid or not. Their marriage is valid, but that is voidable. What does it mean, voidable? For example, if a girl is below 18 and she marries a person, once that marriage becomes valid, but once she reaches the age of 18 and she is given 2 more years to decide whether she want to continue that marriage or she want to add this. So this marriage is voidable, and this marriage is legal and also voidable. So this, what does this this limit show us? That it shows that this should be the limit of the people to marry across the country. And here comes the another concept, as the Himachal Pradesh, they had increased the age for the female. Here comes the another concept, that is age of the consent. Usually according to the National Crime Bureau of India, they have found that usually the crime rates between 16 to 18 has increased in adult boys. Why? Because they had been involved in the sexual relationship with their girlfriends mostly. But unfortunately, when the girl is younger than 18 years age, it is assumed that it has been rape, because they are not in a position to give the consent. So with this, by increasing this age limit, it will definitely increase the further percentage of the crimes with respect to this age. With respect to this age, once the age limit is raised from 18 to 21. So there are various concerns related to this increasing the age limit for women. Basically, in different countries we have different genetics, we are built differently. So while making such such laws about the marriage age, about the consent age, the country should think, they should think properly about it. They should do the proper discussion. They should bring all the experts in and have a proper discussion about it, and frame such policies which are likable to everyone. So this is all about this. Now let us see what can be the question formed from this article itself. Here the question says, under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, which of the following statements about the legal age of marriage in India are correct? First statement: the minimum legal age for marriage for females is 21. No, it is incorrect, because it is 18. Second statement: the minimum legal age for marriage for males is 18. No, it is incorrect, it is 21. Third statement: the act applies uniformly to all communities and personal laws in India. Totally incorrect, because it does not act. This act does not apply uniformly, because Muslims have different personal laws, Christians have different personal laws, so it does not act uniformly. But what does it do? Why? The Prohibition of Child Marriage Act provides a uniform legal minimum age for marriage. It does not necessarily override all the personal laws and customs for all communities. So it does not override all personal laws and customs for all communities. So it does not apply uniformly to all communities, and also does not override the personal laws in India of all the communities. So for this question, the correct statement is option D, which is none of the above. With this, we complete our today's discussion with the current affairs. Now let's have a look at the static topic, which is the Government of India Act of 1850. You know, in the static topics, we had taken up the Indian polity, and for Indian polity, the source is the Lakshmikant. As I had promised you that every day we will discuss each and every topic of the Lakshmikant one by one, so that it would be very much useful for you for your preparation, so that it will be like a revision for you. Also, if you had not read the Lakshmikant, you will come to know through this video. So here today we have to discuss about the Government of India Act of 1858. You know why this act was brought in? Because there was a huge revolt in India as the revolt of 1857, which is also called the Sepoy Mutiny or the First War of Independence. It showed few things to the British, that their rule, they were, they had faced the resistance for the first time. It showed them that the way they are controlling the country is not the right way. It showed them there are many holes in their governance. So to overcome those holes, they had brought in this act of India, Government of India Act of 1858. Now let's have a look at the key features of this act. The first one, this act known as the Act for the Good Government of India. It abolished the East India Company. It totally abolished the East India Company, and India, under this act, India was to be governed, and in the name of Her Majesty. Under the, it provided that India henceforth was to be governed by and in the name of the Her Majesty. And also under this act, Government of India Act of 1858, what it did, it changed the designation of the Governor General of India to that of the Viceroy of India. Now he was not called the Governor General of India, but he was called the Viceroy of India. He was the direct representative of the British Crown in India, and with this we should know that Lord Canning thus became the first Viceroy of the India. Also, it ended the system of dual government by abolishing the Board of Control and Court of Directors. Those were abolished, but it also created a new office called the Secretary of State for India, vested with complete authority and control over Indian administration. And you know, about the Secretary of the State, the Secretary of the State was a member of the British Cabinet and was responsible ultimately to the British Parliament. And also, we should know that it established the 15-member Council of India to assist the Secretary of the State of India. So these are few key features of the Government of India Act of 1858. The most key points from this discussion, we should know that it abolished the East India Company. Second, the designation of the Governor General of India was changed to the Viceroy of India. Third, Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. And fourth, it ended the system of double government by abolishing the Board of Control and Court of Directors. And fifth, we should know that it created a new office called the Secretary of State for India. These are few important points which we at least should know about this Government of India Act of 1858. Now let us see how UPSC can ask a prelims based question from this. Let's have a look at that. Here the question says, which of the following statements regarding the Government of India Act of 1858 are correct? The first statement, the act transferred control of India from the British East India Company to the British Crown. 100% correct. That is what we that is what we discussed. Second statement, the act established a system of direct rule by the British Crown, ending the practice of appointing a Governor General of India. Notice this is totally incorrect, because it it did not end the practice of the appointing a Governor General, but it changed the designation of the Governor General to the Viceroy. So statement 2 is incorrect. Coming to the statement 3, the act created a Secretary of State for India who was appointed by the British Parliament. 100% correct. So for this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3, and from the code given below, the correct code is 1 and 3, which is the correct option is option B. With this, we complete the daily discussion with the current affairs. We complete the daily discussion with the static topic. Now let's have a look at the previous year questions, few of the previous year questions which we have discussed, which we have taken today. Here, the question 1, it says it asks us about It says, who among the following started the newspaper Shom Prakash? It was a newspaper Shom Prakash who had started it. Was he Dayanand Saraswati? Was he Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar? Or uh, was he Raja Ram Mohan Roy or Surindernath Banerjee? It was actually started by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So for this question, the correct option is option B. Coming to the second question, it says the ruler of which one of the following states was removed from power by the British government on the pretext of misgovernance. Was it Awadh? Was it Jhansi? Was it Nagpur? Or was it Satara? It was definitely Awadh. Awadh was annexed, on the basis of the misgovernance. And coming to the question number three, the first factory act restricted the working hours of women and children and authorized local government to make necessary rules. Was adopted during whose time? Was it Lord Lytton, Lord Bentinck, Lord Canning, or Lord Ripon? It is Lord Ripon. Whenever you find any question which has related to the British, which has done something good to Indian people, then if the Lord Lytton is there, then if you don't know the answer, the best option would be Lord Ripon. So here for the question number three, the correct option is option C. With this, we complete today's discussion, and I hope you had understood the topic. I hope I was able to make you understand these things, these articles which were in the newspaper, and I hope I was able to help you connect it with your preparation. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and best of luck.